he's throwing a little bit harder. He's getting ready to take his warm-up tosses. But it is always nice with the roof is open here in Toronto. It's very cold in the wintertime here. So I think anytime these fans can come outside or come into a stadium outside with the roof open, they're going to enjoy it.
Lineup for the Athletics has Billy Burns in center, Brett Laurie at second, Josh Reddick in right, Danny Valencia, who's been good with the A's in his short time. He's going to play third base tonight. Stephen Vogt will catch. And then you got Butler, Canna, Sogard, and Fultz. So Valencia playing third, Laurie playing second tonight.
Well, he is good. He's a knuckleball pitcher. He's won a Cy Young Award, which really, as far as all the knuckleball pitchers around baseball ever threw the knuckleball, they could not be happy. Remember Tom Candiotti talked about, hey, a knuckleball pitcher won the Cy Young Award. Did it with the Mets, traded to the Blue Jays, and he is happy to be here, especially happy to be pitching for a team that is successful, and the Blue Jays are that.
So defensively behind the knuckleballer, same as last night. Revere, Pilar, Batista in the outfield, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Goins, and Smoke on the infield, and Russell Martin is your catcher. So everything's the same lineup. And defense for the Blue Jays as Dickey is wrapping up his warm-up tosses. And there'll be scoreboard watching tonight here at Rogers Center with the Yankees and the Indians playing. Yankees lost last night. The Blue Jays sitting on a 9-game winning streak. They've had 2 separate 9-game win streaks this season. It's the first time in franchise history. They also did it in the month of June. They had a big month of June where they won 18 games. So a couple of 9-game winning streaks this year. So the Yankees are in Cleveland tonight. Sabathia and Salazar. That game starting the same time as this one. And again, the Yankees have a half-game lead over the Blue Jays. The Yankees lost last night in 16 innings.
They lost this morning.
That's true. You're right.
It was morning time in Cleveland. That it was a long one.
Billy Burns swings at the first pitch. It's a little pop-up to center. 1 pitch, 1 out.
In fact, you notice Billy Burns is batting right-handed. And we saw that in Oakland when R.A. Dickey pitched against the Athletics. Some of the switch hitters would bat right-handed against the right-handed knuckleballer.
Umpires tonight, Jeff Kellogg is the crew chief, and he is calling balls and strikes.
And he thought he had Mark Burley tonight.
We all did.
Dickey, I know. But I mean, from the umpire standpoint, he's at first base last night, and then they made the change, and you have to worry about umpiring with a knuckleball pitcher, which is not that easy. You talk about concentration for an umpire. Not that they don't all the time, but they definitely have to with a knuckleballer.
Well, there was a few rumors floating around last night here at the ballpark that they were going to flip-flop Burley and Dickey, but we never really got any confirmation on that. 0-2 pitch to Laurie is popped up foul.
So the oversized catcher was met with Russell Martin. And the nice thing, Martin evidently at the beginning was not that enthused about catching the knuckleball. And Josh Tolley was the catcher came over from the Mets with Dickey, and he was catching him. Of course, he was sent out, and now Russell Martin doing the catching with the knuckleballer, which is always good. He's the better hitter. And I say that because when Tim Wakefield pitched in Boston, Doug Mirabelli caught him. Jason Varitek didn't until he got the postseason, and that was not that much fun, I'm sure, for Mr. Varitek.
Pilar again, he'll trot in, and he has it. 2 outs here in the first inning. Dickey is pitching extremely well as of late. Coming into this start, he's allowed just 1 earned run in his last 27 1/3 innings. And you stretch that out a little bit. Since the All-Star break, ERA under 1, so he is a hot pitcher. He has not lost since the 9th of July. So he's a knuckleballer that's on a roll right now. Since the break, 3-0 with a 0.99 ERA, best ERA in the majors.
And he works quickly. We saw Drew Hutchinson last night working very quickly, and not indifferent for Dickey. Just a different type of pitcher.
And that one in for a strike. His last start, he got a no decision. The game that the Blue Jays won 2-1 at Yankee Stadium. He went 7 innings, gave up just that 1 run. So he is rolling along. And you said, Ray, you think he's throwing his knuckleball a little harder?
A bit harder. And you can tell just watching him in his warm-ups. And Russell Martin, watch the sign. He just almost doesn't give a sign. Just there it is. And he will put the catcher's mitt on the ground. Ideally, you want the ball to come to you as a catcher, not try to go get it. And I think for Martin, he's putting the glove there just to make sure he doesn't try to run out and grab the ball. Because when you do that, that's when it dances too much.
So 87% of the time, it's a knuckleball from R.A. Dickey. So when a catcher puts down the number 1, it's usually a fastball. Right. With Dickey, the number 1 is the knuckleball. And that's a good take by Reddick.
Yeah. Remember also with a knuckleball pitcher, a hitter has to provide his own power. So the flying balls that have been hit to center field, they were not driven.
Strike 3 call. Looked like it was up and away, and Reddick can't believe it. So I think that was a bad call, and that's the way the game starts for Reddick. So 3 up, 3 down inning in the top of the first. Their lineup, same as last night. Tulowitzki, Donaldson, Batista, Colabello, Martin, Smoke, Pilar, Goins, Revere.
Aaron Brooks, his 3rd start since joining the Athletics, coming from Kansas City, and he has pitched well. Great changeup and just 1 walk while he struck out 15 batters. That is very impressive. The 1 walk coming in his last start against Houston. Gave up a home run to Chisnall on a fastball because he was thinking about throwing the changeup, but that was against the Cleveland Indians. But pitching very well is this young man, and he hopes to continue against a team that handed it to him last year. Different year, though.
First pitch is a fastball that's just a little bit high to Troy Tulowitzki.
So was the one to Reddick.
And outside. 290 for Tulowitzki. Those are combined numbers. Rockies and Blue Jays. In first strike, 1-1. Donaldson to follow, and Batista. Tulowitzki was quiet last night. He was 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. And that was the changeup. And floated inside to Tulowitzki.
Tulowitzki, while he went 0 for 4, the Blue Jays won, so his record is intact as far as the wins, consecutive wins since he's been in the lineup.
Is it 11-0 now?
Yeah.
There's one game where he was not in the starting lineup. It's 12-0 now.
Right.
And they actually lost that game. He pinch hit, and it was the game where they had runners at first and third in the bottom of the 9th trying to tie it, and they could not do it. And there's a walk. A leadoff walk for Tulowitzki, and that'll bring up Donaldson. Here's the Athletics defense. Full, Burns, and Reddick in the outfield. Valencia, Sogard, Laurie, and Canna on the infield. And Stephen Vogt is the catcher.
You know, we've been talking about, and I know I've mentioned about the start that he had, Brooks had. And while you like to think that they would forget about it, it has to be in the back of the mind. he faced 11 batters, 7 runs. It was just a tough outing for him here at Rogers Center against these Blue Jays.
Well, it's not like he's been in the league for 8 years where you have time to forget about it. It was last year. So 2/3 of an inning, 5 runs, 7 hits, and 3 walks.
Faced 11 batters and 7 scored. He did not get out of the first inning. So, it's got to be in the back of his mind. And I think your point well taken that it happened last year, and this is his new ball club with the A's. And while he's pitched well in the first 2, he wants to just forget about it. Get through the first inning. Maybe that'd be a huge plus for him.
Strike to Donaldson, 1-1 the count. 31 homers, 83 RBIs for Donaldson. He was 0 for 4 last night. So the A's kept Tulowitzki and Donaldson off the bases, but it's a deep Blue Jays lineup. And it's a pretty good pitch, a little bit low. Good movement, good sinking movement.
Well, one of the things you have to do is figure out a home plate umpire strike zone, and he's not calling the high strike that one. So I don't know. I guess it's middle of the plate, belt high, and it'd be called a strike. But that also could end up in a third deck.
So 3-1. So you got to come in here. Bautista will be next. There's a shot to center and a base hit. And Tulowitzki will stop at second. So 2 on and nobody out here in the first.
That's what happens when you have to throw the ball in the middle of the plate. And while it was a single, it could have been even worse. And the fact that the ball did get into the hands of Donaldson. And you notice that Tulowitzki, and he was kind of jogging to second base. And I think with his lineup, there's no reason to try to go first and third. And sure, a flying ball would have scored him from third base, but if he gets thrown out, he could also avoid being able to score with this guy at the plate.
Bautista shows bunt. Don't know if he was doing it seriously, but he did take a look down at Valencia. I can't imagine that he's even thinking about it.
Well, these fans were oohing and on like, what is that?
27 homers, 79 RBIs for Bautista. Something else to watch for in this game, Ray. This is a home run he hit last night.
It's a hanging breaking ball. Same 2 pitches he complained that were called strikes in the first inning. And he hit one that took about 3 seconds to leave, if not quicker than that, to get him the third deck, second deck.
One and 1 to Bautista. Swing and a miss. Ray, something to watch for in this game is Sogard playing shortstop, Laurie playing second base, and I remember that arrangement in Minnesota.
That's right.
But I don't know if it's happened again this year. I don't think it has. No, there's got to be a lot of communication in that middle infield, and so keep an eye on that tonight.
Well, and Sogard has to be the one, I would think, calling the coverage at second base. In this case, well, Laurie is closer. They're going to play Bautista to pull, so Laurie would be the one covering second base in the event a ball is hit back to Brooks and a throw to second to try to start a double play.
Bounce foul, but you think about all the different positions, and obviously pitcher and catcher have to be working together, but the shortstop and second baseman, I mean, they're sort of joined at the hip when it comes to defense and what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think the other times it's been Valencia at third, Laurie at second, Sogard not playing.
Exactly.
So with him at short, this is a rare start for him at short.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. It's a big strikeout early for Aaron Brooks.
He throws a cutter, and he just threw him 1, 2, and 2, and a good one. Just enough movement and enough off speed that Bautista was way out in front and no contact. And that is a big, big out, especially if they get Colabella to hit the ball on the ground and get a double play. That could be real big.
Colabello in the cleanup spot. Edwin Encarnacion sitting out again tonight. Got a sore finger. There's a tough spot. The Blue Jays with Encarnacion and the sore finger. They're afraid that, okay, it feels a little bit better, but as soon as you hit a ball off the end of the bat, then it hurts again.
Yeah.
So they're being careful with him.
And they can afford to,
yep,
because they've got some power up and down the lineup, even with him not in it.
And Colabello's really done a heck of a job this year for the Blue Jays. He's hitting .325 with 10 home runs and 41 RBIs. This is his 250th bat, his 72nd game. He's got 15 doubles.
And they kept him over Valencia because they made the move and when they got Revere.
And that one is hit high and deep to left. Look out, second deck.
Well, a fastball, bells high, and gone. I mean, that was loud, and it was deep. And he was saying, Kite, that he never thought that a sore thumb could turn out to be such a blessing for him, because he had the sore thumb with Minnesota last year, and they kept wanting him to play and play and play. And he said he tried to play, very difficult to play, and he ends up with the Blue Jays healthy, and we just saw the result of it.
That one's hit to center. Burns going back. He's near the wall and he makes the catch. So Russell Martin puts a charge into it. So 2 away.
Well, just an easy swing. They had Colabello hitting cleanup in the middle of this lineup with so much power, and he just adds one himself. That's 11 and 44 runs batted in. And would you say 250 plate appearances at bats? So that's too bad. The walk, which is only the second that Brooks has given up this year, or at least with the A's. Single on a 3-1 and a 3-run home run on a 2-0 fastball.
First pitch a bit outside to Smoke. Remember last year, Colabello, and we saw him early, Ray. He had 27 RBIs in the month of April for the Twins, and then he got hurt. The injury you're talking about, and when it was all said and done, he hit just 229 for the whole year. And now you start thinking maybe the injury did have a lot to do with that.
Well, he said plain and simple, he'd go into the trainer's room and they say just ice it, just put ice on it and make it feel better. And he said it never got better, and ends up with the Blue Jays, and the rest is history.
He was put on waivers, and the Blue Jays claimed him in December in the offseason, and man, what a find. He can play outfield, he can play first base, obviously DHing tonight. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt by Smoke. 3-run homer by Chris Colabello, and it was a long one. So 3-0 Blue Jays after 1.
Is celebrating 13 years. You can watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
A's fan, got a room? He's got a good view. Supporting the green and gold right now. Blue Jays leading 3-0. That hotel out there has 348 rooms, 70 of which overlook the field. So if you're lucky enough to get one of those 70, then you can watch the ball game.
One of the Blue Jay Hall of Famers, Roberto Alomar, who played great second base for the Blue Jays in the championship years, lived there.
That's right.
And he said, it's pretty nice. I just take the elevator down, walk across center field, and go straight to the clubhouse.
Not a bad idea, really. Yeah. Valencia, Vogt, and Butler, second inning. And that one's hit to left center, and that's hit a ton, and that baby's gone. Valencia homers, and the A's are on the board.
That hit just at the restaurant area in left center field. Uh-oh.
Not supposed to throw that ball back.
No.
There was an article in the local paper when we got here about if you throw the ball back on a home run by the opposition, you're going to get thrown out of the stadium.
If that person is found, that person will be ejected, and that's exactly what it said. I was shocked whenever in that same article that Brett Gardner of the Yankees, the ball was thrown back, hit him in the back of the head, and that was on Bautista's home run. And on Sunday, they threw the ball back in, and a fan threw it, and down goes Gardner.
And that was at Yankee Stadium. It was obviously a Yankee fan who threw it back, but you can't hit your center fielder in the back of the head when you throw the ball back.
And he laughed about it, but Joe Girardi was a little bit more serious about it, the manager, which is understandable. Well, meanwhile, that was a hanging knuckleball, and when a hanging knuckleball is thrown, it's like a BP fastball. And it's hit about the way Valencia hit it.
Hop up down the left field line. And Revere has it. One out here in the second inning.
Just look in the middle of the plate. Count is 1-1. Here comes the knuckleball, and that's a nothing knuckleball. And Valencia at the foot down, bat back, and he just unloaded. And really, coaches throw batting practice, and they don't throw hard. They're accurate just to try to get your swings, and that was kind of like a BP fastball. Look where it landed.
Ball's carrying tonight, Ray. I love saying that.
I don't think either one. And even Martin sounded like it was going to be hit out.
And Billy Butler rips one to center for a hit. Let's see where that thing landed. The Valencia home.
Well, and you can hear the fans oohing on with the crush. There. I hope that person had a nice meal already.
I was going to say, if you're going to throw it back, then you better have that fake mustache, big nose thing going so nobody can recognize you.
Bobby Valentine.
Exactly.
Guy on the right who did it. He's the one.
Is that the guy?
That's the guy. At least I saw the gray shirt.
He's not feeling that comfortable in his home ballpark right now. 0-2 to Canna. Canna getting a start tonight at first base. Mike Davis took the night off. Oh, 0-2. Line fouled on the right field line. We were told it was going to be close to a sellout tonight, and it is a huge crowd. There's empty seats in the upper deck, at least down the lines a little ways.
Yeah, usually you go to the far extremities, which would be left center, right center, beyond the scoreboard, and you see fans there. They usually start selling tickets behind home plate and go out.
Go out.
But To the Coliseum, that's kind of the rule of thumb.
39,000 last night, and it'll be a bigger number tonight.
And tomorrow's expected, as well as the Yankees series for sure.
So there's some seats way up on top down the line. It's a very steep upper deck. I've sat up there.
Oh, that's why they have rails in front of every row.
Yeah, I used every one of them. Canna down the left field line to the corner, and it is a fair ball up and into the seats, and it'll be second and third and one out. Loud contact against R.A. Dickey here in the second inning.
Well, his knuckleball is not knuckling that much because he's leaving it up. You see the rotation again, a pitch that was up, maybe even out of the strike zone, not deep enough for a home run, hits a hard warning track, bounced into the seats, and Billy Butler had to be stopped at third. But Mark Canha, 2-strike hitting, fouled off a couple.
So a chance for Sogard. Sogard takes low. Donaldson, even with the bag at third, smoked in a little bit at first. Outfield is very shallow. Remember, Butler, the runner at third, does not have much speed. So the fly ball is going to have to be fairly deep.
Well, the important thing is somehow for the A's to get this run in. This has been kind of the real problem for the A's all season, and we're not talking about just recently. All season, runner third, less than 2 outs. Just one of those things. If they had been scoring half,
this will do the job as Butler trots in to score, and Sogard with the RBI ground out. So now it's 3-2.
In fact, how many times have we said the gift runs early? Get a runner third, less than 2 outs. Infield's going to play back. They do not want to open up a big inning. And so by Sogard just making contact, hit it to the right side. Looked like he made sure he got the top hand to hit the ball to the right side where Goins was playing back. And that quickly makes it a 1-run game.
You know, too, in that situation, Sogard's not a guy who's necessarily going to hit a lot of deep fly balls.
That's right.
And if you have a slow runner at third, and Butler is very, very slow, you're better off with the ground ball than a fly ball.
Especially with the infield back on the right side. And with the knuckleball, that was a fastball. But with the knuckleball, you figure left-handed hitter is going to get out in front and pull it, and you just hit on top of it to make sure it's on the ground instead of getting under it.
Sam Fuld hitting right at 200. He's got a home run and 16 RBIs.
See, these are the difficult times for a catcher, and for Russell Martin, any catcher trying to catch a knuckleball, especially one that's thrown a little bit harder, with a runner at third. One's in the dirt. I think Gino Petralli had about 100 pass balls one year catching Charlie Huff. I mean, you want to throw the pass ball out of the statistical information.
Smoke grabs it, shuffles to Dickey, side retired, but the A's grab 2 back on the home run by Valencia, and Sogard with the RBI ground out. So bottom of the second coming up. It's the Blue Jays 3 and the A's 2. long home run. Let's see now, 3 home runs with the A's in a very short period of time. Pilar, Goins, Revere, the bottom 3, and Aaron Brooks needs to get back in the dugout quickly. 1-1 the count. He had an 18-pitch first inning, and Colabello hit the 3-run home. Pilar, 260. Taken over as the everyday center fielder for Toronto. Brooks, a shutdown inning opportunity, 4 for 5 in that area so far this year. Hit well, right field. Reddick gets back and he reaches up, juggles, and he caught it.
Snow cone. He may be still thinking about Jeff Kellogg calling him out on a high knuckleball, because he went back. His ball hit very well by Pilar, and he went back casually and then reached up, watched see all the baseball, and he kind of corralled it as he came down right there and went up in the webbing. Remember, outfielders use very long gloves. They are allowed to do that because they're trying to rob guys of home runs, but that one took every bit of the pocket up into the webbing to bring it down. Remember, Louis Polonia's glove was bigger than him.
It hung down to his ankles.
Exactly.
There is a glove size rule, right?
Yeah.
Although I don't know that it's enforced.
It's as far as the outfielders, they can take it right to the limit.
So 3-0 to Goins. Goins playing in the place of Devin Travis, who Blue Jays figured to get back in September.
They like him.
Yeah, he's a good little player. And there's the walk. So 1 out base run.
I don't know that any second inning could have been worse than last night for the Athletics, because 3 runs scored, only 1 earned, and started with this. This is a base hit that Coco charged in, went over his head, ends up at second, does Colabella. Next ground ball, should have been a double play. Instead, looked to third by Simeon, then he threw wildly at first base. Run scored, and it was just one of those innings. This ground ball, Sogard had the ball come up, ate him up, air, 4. So there's another error. It just was an inning in which, if the A's could have gotten through that, and Bob Melvin said probably the worst inning that they've seen all season. I mean, he was quoted throughout the day talking about that, and he was not very pleased, because you play 115 games, you hope your defense has improved. And that just was not a game that you could look at last night. And you know, Marcus said immediately, he said, I should never have looked at third base. I should have picked the ball up and thrown to first. But bottom line, if it's a base hit for Colabella instead of a double, it's a double play out of at least the beginning of getting out of the inning. But that was then. Hopefully the A's learn from it and can come back and win tonight.
0-1 to Ben Revere. And I know you and I talked about the Simeon play, and obviously there's really no reason to look at third, but it almost looked as if when he looked at third, I think he took his eye off the ball a little bit, and then there was a little juggle, and then after that, well, then his feet are screwed up, and it's no longer a smooth play for him. Watch, he looked early, and he does not have the ball in his glove.
And you're right, he fumbled it, never had the grip when he threw to first, and you see the arm angle got underneath it and just pushed it, and even Ike Davis could not come off. But you know, he said he took that one hard, and he'd been playing very good baseball defensively, swinging the bat well.
Right field, that's trouble. Reddick over, and it'll bounce off the wall. Goins to third, he'll stop there, and Ben Revere has a double. Second and third, 1 out.
I don't know that you can outslug this ball club, so you have to stop the bleeding sometime. And as you had mentioned, when Tulowitzki was acquired. And the fastball 2-1, kind of tailed right in the middle of the plate. So you have the bottom two in the batting order setting the table for the power at the top. And Tulowitzki leading off, and Donaldson and Bautista. And the two guys 8 and 9 get on base with one out. It becomes a challenge to try to get out of this inning.
You know what, Ray? Think about this lineup. And Ben Revere, who in his career has always been a leadoff man, not a bad idea to bat him ninth.
That's right.
Because he's a pretty good player.
And he is hopeful for a ground ball.
And good changeup in for a strike, 82 miles an hour. Brooks throws that changeup 80, 81, 82.
First two starts, Brooks had 10 ground ball outs, 20 fly ball outs. And it's combined 14 in the third innings.
Infield in, and the pitch is inside.
And with this turf, although it is softer than what we've seen in the past here, Rogers Center, it's still a ground ball. It has to be hit almost to one of the infielders to prevent a run from scoring or to keep it from going in the outfield.
Runs inside, and it hit him. Just got him.
And you can hear the tick and get on the tick off the arm. So Kurt Young's going to go out and ask how he can get a ground ball. And got him the right elbow. And in real time, you could hear the tick off of the elbow. You could see it there, even though Stephen Vogt caught it.
So base is loaded for Donaldson. We talked a lot about the changeup of Aaron Brooks, how good it's been for him. Last two starts, the comparison. Comparing it to the major league average when it comes to changeups. Look at the difference in chase percentage, and that's basically guys swinging at the changeup when it's out of the strike zone.
Well, the important thing for Aaron Brooks, he's got a good changeup. He'd like to get a ground ball to get a double play to get out of the inning. But he needs to get ahead, because you look at so far in the first 9 batters, when he's fallen behind, they've done damage, including Donaldson, who singled on a 3-1. Bautista struck out, but Colabella was 2-0.
Way outside, 1-0. Donaldson singled and scored in the first. He's got 1 career grand slam. Taps that one foul. Chased a pitch that was a little out of the strike zone. Donaldson tied for first in the American League in RBIs.
Well, even though he's got Bautista hitting behind him, Josh Donaldson's not up to the walk. He wants to swing the bat, and maybe his aggressiveness can get him to hit the ball on the ground, get on top of one of the pitches from Brooks, and hit a double play ground ball.
Vogt can't find it. It's right at the feet of Donaldson. Donaldson is tied with Chris Davis for the RBI lead in the American League at 83.
Overthrown his changeup, and Stephen Vogt, first one was out of the strike zone, and this one bounced, and Vogt had to do the job to move to the right. Got Chris Davis one swing of the bat, a grand slam against the A's the Thursday, the finale against the Orioles, before the Wednesday, that is, before Houston came in.
Bounced off the plate, and Donaldson chased another pitch that was not a strike. So he's seen 4 pitches all out of the strike zone, but the count's 2-2.
And you can hear the thud on the plate. Good sinker, and Stephen Vogt went down and try to block it.
So 2-2. And now full count. Owens at third, Revere at second, Tulowitzki at first. So Boy, this will get the crowd into it. Base hit right field under the glove of Canna. 1 run scores. 2 runs are going to score, and it's 5-2 Blue Jays. Canna was playing way off the line, and the ball just shot right under his glove.
We showed last night the home runs Donaldson has hit the right field, and even though 3-2, fastball away, he went the opposite field. And you're right, Canna, the ball just hit the turf. See all the black tire remnants just popping up, and that's the ability to use the whole field, and that's what Donaldson does well. We saw it in Oakland for a couple of years, and he's doing it for the Blue Jays.
So he now has 85 RBIs, and Batista steps up, still only 1 out. 38 hits the other way. I got to tell you something, Ray. Watching somebody like Donaldson, until he gets 2 strikes, he lets it rip. Yeah. But that right there is why he's such a great hitter. Because he took a little off his swing, and he went the other way with the bases loaded. And we've talked about guys who don't do that. Keep swinging as hard as you can.
And trying to pull it.
Yeah.
Try to pull the outside pitch.
That one hit very high. Foul territory near the seats and into the seats. But I'm always impressed when you see a major power hitter who, with 2 strikes, just takes a little bit out of his swing because it's an RBI situation, and he hits a hard ground ball to right field. I mean, look at that.
Well, just picture if he had taken an outside fastball and tried to pull it.
It's a ground ball to short.
It's a double play. It's a double play. That's what the A's were hoping for. It just so happened they got a former teammate who knows how to hit. The A's have bullpen activity already. Just noticed somebody is throwing.
But I just think it's a thought process of, I got a much better chance of driving in 2 here than hitting one into the seats and driving in 4, which is great, but that doesn't happen very often. One and 2 the count to Batista. Felix Dubron starting to throw out in the A's bullpen. 51 pitches for Aaron Brooks. A little bit outside with a changeup. 2-2.
And you know, the changeup has been thrown a lot tonight. Those now 52 pitches, but it's not the same consistency and the easiness in throwing the changeup that we've seen in the first 2 starts. And maybe you cannot push a changeup. You can't throw it. It has to be thrown just nice and easy like your fastball, but you pull the string with the grip.
And that's a bullet foul. Yeah, that's a good point, because just watching his delivery tonight, it's not as smooth as it was in his last start.
And with Vogt having to go to his right to block those changeups, he's overthrowing the changeup. And you know, it's all deception. Fastball, changeup, same motion, same delivery, just different velocities. But you can't overthrow because it's going to end up out of the strike zone. Then you're going to have to come in with your fastball, and it's not a 95 to 98.
Left field, that's a base hit. Tulowitzki's being waved home. Samfold's throw is there. They got him. Vogt tagged him up around the shoulder, and what a throw by Sam Fuld to gun down Tulowitzki.
And a great play by Stephen Vogt, because the throw was to the dugout side. He had to catch it and then go back as Tulowitzki was told to slide inside. Sending it immediately, forcing the ball hit hard. Sam Fuld, look where the throw is, a tag. And you're right, he got him up around the shoulder, and Sam Fuld with Stephen Vogt, great recovery to catch, go back, get him there before he really got to the plate with the left hand, but he'd already been tagged. What a great throw by Sam Fuld. Tag right there, got him.
He never touched home plate, it doesn't look like, till
after.
Well, his left hand much after.
Now they're questioning, I guess, whether he was tagged here.
There, the left hand drops out.
He did tag with the left hand, but now he got it. He got him on the shoulder. Looked like he got that angle. Looked like he got it. But it's interesting that he waited to get back to the dugout before they decided to challenge him. But usually, if the runner is not tagged, he immediately jumps up and points. Tulowitzki just went to the dugout. This angle you can't tell. The other one he had. And Jeff Kellogg was busy at first base last night. He's just as busy behind the plate tonight. See, it looked like the uniform moved on that shot.
There's the big screen out in center field.
Yeah, got it.
They're going to stick with the call.
And I think there was a movement of his uniform with the initial tag, just enough of a movement, and it would not have been the breeze blowing it. It would have been a touch by Stephen Vogt. And that was a great recovery right there, enough to get him. And I think that's where they looked at it. And even though he touched it with the left hand, Stephen Vogt there, right there, just barely. And maybe Tulowitzki didn't feel it. Maybe it's just enough of the uniform moving. Meanwhile, Sam Foe with a strong throw and assist. That's 8 for him, but the A's do not have a lot, but that adds to it.
Here's Colabello. Rolls and foul. Colabello with a 3-run homer in the first inning. He's 11th of the year. So a couple of runs in here for the Blue Jays. They've scored 5 in the first 2 innings. Blocked by Vogt.
Well, in the first inning, a 2-0 room service. That was crushed. Also the glass below the Tom cheek. Circle of what do they call it? Circle of Fame. Circle of Fame. Something. Yeah.
Level of excellence.
Level of excellence. There you go.
Liner. Foul. Wow. Ryan O'Nora, the first base umpire, called it foul, and that was close.
That's 2 runs. And Bautista's just going to keep running and go back to first base. But O'Nora, how could you miss the way he straddled the line and threw the hands up? Mark Cannon probably telling him foul ball, but I mean that's as good a job of an umpire to turn around, not move, just turn around and look at the ball where it's landing.
That's right. So 1-2 to Colabello. Donaldson at second, Batista at first, and that one's flipped to right, and that's a hit. Donaldson coming around, and he will score. And going to third is Batista, and it's 6-2. So Colabello has 4 RBIs in the first 2 innings.
When you think the ball that hit down the line, it was a, excuse me, swing, but looked like he was trying to go that way with the way Brooks was pitching him. But another tough second inning, although this one tonight, although a lot of runs, not the same as last night, but still too many runs in the second inning.
So when it's time for change, the Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. Felix Dubron, the left-hander, coming in for the A's. Breast Cancer Awareness Day presented by Zevia, the zero-calorie soda, and supported in part by Athena Bottled Water, Nelson Staffing, America Bank, and State Roofing Systems of San Leandro. Prior to the game, 10,000 fans will receive a breast cancer awareness scarf courtesy of Zevia. Join the fight. Purchase your special tickets now at athletics.com/survivor. Coming up on September 6th. So Aaron Brooks gone here in the second inning. The Blue Jays are just rolling along, folks. So the 2 career starts here at Rogers Center, 11 hits and 13 runs in 2 1/3 innings. 1 last year, 1 this year. So he does not like this place. Felix Dubron steps in. Wasn't that long ago he was pitching here in this ballpark for the Jays. So he takes over here in the second inning with 2 outs. The first pitch is a ball.
Fortunately, the runner was thrown out at the plate, because it could have been worse. So Martin caught Dubron in Oakland. Manager Bob Melvin was ejected because Dubron was so slow delivering the pitches that Martin came out like it was a pitch out in the right-handed batter's box.
That's right.
And Bob Melvin asked Hunter Windlestead, was that a pitch out? He said, you say anything else, I'm going to throw you out. He said, all I asked was it a pitch out? You throw him out.
Hunter was angry and mad that day.
And the night before.
So Dubron started this year with the Blue Jays AAA team in Buffalo, and then on July 3rd brought up. He made 4 starts. Missed again, 3-1. Close pitches, but Jeff Kellogg not giving in. Russell Martin hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning. First and third, 2 outs. And now full count. So the runner at first is Colabello. He will take off. There's been 4 hits, a walk, and a hit batter in this inning alone. Bounced up the middle, base hit center field. Run comes in to score. That's Batista. Colabello around the third, and it's 7-2 Blue Jays.
Oh, and you have to give in. You have to give in and throw a fastball. When you fall behind, then makes it so much easier for hitters. And I mean, remember the series in Oakland that Martin was hitting the ball all over the place, but mostly center field or right field, and he almost hit one out in his first at bat. This one up the middle with a base hit on a 3-2 and just kind of guided the ball into center field.
Here's Smoke. Switch hitter will hit from now the right side, and he takes way outside.
Stephen Moat might need the day off tomorrow. He's worked hard already, and this is just the second inning.
3 in the first, 4 in the second for the Blue Jays. They are a relentless crew, and they're just not a team that you really want to play right now.
Yeah.
They've won 9 in a row and 12 out of 13, and they're a win and a Yankee loss away from being in first place in the AL East. If there's such a thing as brimming with confidence, that would be the Blue Jays.
Well, in this game, as you mentioned, the same in Cleveland with the Indians and the Yankees, and so that score is posted up at Progressive Field. Yankees know what's going on here.
And I'm sure if you ask the Blue Jays players, there's absolutely no question in their mind that they will win that division.
Absolutely.
Now, we're not saying that everybody feels that way outside of Blue Jays players, but it's hard to argue with them right now. Burns going back. Burns is at the wall. Justin Smoke, a 3-run homer. It's 10-2.
was in a 3-run home run that completed the line of Brooks. And when he left, that's just a right-handed fastball down, and the switch hitter Smoke, and the ball just kept carrying. I thought Martin's ball was hit better in the first inning than this one, and this one seemed to be a no-doubter.
So Pilar led off this inning with a fly ball to right field. So he's getting his second at bat in the inning. A 7 spot for the Blue Jays here in the second. No swing.
I thought the second inning last night was bad.
Different kind of bad.
Yeah, if that had been a better second inning last night, maybe this one wouldn't seem as bad.
There's a couple different categories of bad, and unfortunately we've seen them both the last 2 nights. One was bad defense, the other is bad pitching. Line drive, Fold coming in, and Sam Fold cannot get it. Bounces off Fold, rolls back toward the foul line, and Pilar's going to have a double.
Well, a sinking line drive. Sam Fold looked like he had it. Then it started to sink more, and by the time he got to it, it was off his body. I mean, they're just up there saying, you throw it, I'm going to swing. It's like batting practice. And that's the route that Sam took, because the ball started to sink as quickly as it did, just could not get to it. And when it hit off his glove and hit it towards the infield, easy double for Pilar.
So Kurt Young heads back to the dugout. And Ryan Goins will step in. Goins started it with a 1-out walk. So lefty on lefty outside from Dubron. I mean, you really need innings out of Dubron, and not just a couple. Inside 2-0.
You know, going back to actually the beginning of this inning, you mentioned the 1-out walk was Pilar hit the ball to right field sharply that Reddick had to snow cone it to catch it at the warning track. Maybe should have known something ugly was going to happen after that. That ball took off on him, which was surprising.
2-0 pitch, fastball right there for a strike. Seven hits in the inning and 7 runs. Good fastball there from Dubron. So 2-2 to Goins. Pilar, the runner at second, and the pitch just a bit low. Close pitch.
Can't even call that. Stephen Vogt may not be long for this game. He may get out early just because there's nothing wrong with this pitch. I don't know what Jeff Kellogg's thinking about it. And Stephen Vogt thought it was strike 3. Had a few words with the umpire.
Sets up outside, and it's popped up toward Laurie, who is out on the grass. Outfield turf, makes the catch, and finally the inning comes to an end. Blue Jays send 11 to the plate and score 7 times. It's 10-2 after 2. Camp Railroads. Everybody who's heard a school bell rides for the kids' fair. It's weekdays after 2 p.m. CN Tower right outside Rogers Center. And right now, the Blue Jays with a 10-2 lead. 3 in the first, 7 in the second. So Billy Burns will lead things off. He takes a strike from Robert Allen Dickey, R.A. Dickey, the 40-year-old right-hander. Dickey has not necessarily been sharp in this game. A's have hit some balls hard against him. A couple of runs and 3 hits last inning.
He could take his time to get sharp.
That's true. There's a knuckleball. That one had movement away from Burns. As Ray mentioned, Burns batting right-handed against the right-handed hitting knuckleballer Dickey. I mean, really, I don't know that a knuckleballer knows where the ball's going.
He doesn't. He kind of throws it in the middle of the plate, and then it dances where it's going to dance. That time, you could see him try to throw it a little bit harder, which he did.
And that was a good one. And again, it had that movement running away from Burns, and that's the second strikeout for Dickey.
Martin set up right in the middle. Actually, he's not even given a target. Put the glove on the ground. See, the misconception is not the knuckleball, it's the fingernails into the baseball, usually at the seams, and just kind of push the ball.
It just doesn't spin nearly as much as just a regular fastball. Guy throws a regular fastball or even a breaking ball, the ball is spinning big time. But the knuckleball, it just kind of turns slowly, rotating on those seams. Rory had a good swing there, fouls it into the seats.
I always wondered why pitchers who might struggle for various reasons, why they wouldn't just develop the knuckleball. Just try.
Keep trying.
Yeah. Because
have somebody teach you how to throw it.
Yeah, there's so few pitchers that throw the knuckleball.
R.A. Dickey's in his 10th year in the big leagues. He's been all over the place.
Tim Wakefield was an infielder with the Pirates and decided and became that next knuckleball pitcher. Wilbur Wood was left-handed knuckleball pitcher.
First 9 seasons, most of those with the Texas Rangers. Yeah. But he started to turn it around when he went to the Mets in 2010. He won 11 games. And then in 2012, a 20-game winner, and he won the Cy Young. Tulowitzki in the hole, throws on the run, and they got him. That's kind of a Troy Tulowitzki special. He likes to throw on the run, and he throws across his body as well as really any shortstop in all of baseball.
And he knows the speed of Brent Laurie, so to catch the ball, if he stopped and thrown, he would not have thrown him out. So he makes a strong, accurate throw. And to have that arm strength, and Smoke a good job at first base stretching. But this says it all. You have an 8-run lead. You can afford to throw a knuckleball on 3-2.
Here's Reddick, takes a stride. So Dickey wins the Cy Young and then gets traded to the Blue Jays. So this is his 3rd year now in Toronto.
Yeah, nobody ever thought that a Cy Young Award winner would ever be traded. No. They started with Frankie Viola from the Twins.
That was the Cy Young season, 233 innings. But you know what? Trade, the Blue Jays got a veteran starter, and the Mets got Noah Syndergaard, who is now in the big leagues, and he looks like he's going to be special. And they also got Travis d'Arnaud, the young catcher. So the Mets made a good deal as well.
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
Reddick goes down.
Knuckleball went straight down, and Josh Reddick straight down off the right ankle. It's got to feel great. You're running around on the outfield turf, and then you foul a ball off your ankle, and you have to go run on the turf even more.
Can't feel it right now. So 2-2 the count. Reddick get a good swing that time. So Dickey's first 2 seasons with the Blue Jays, 14-13 in each year. This year 6-10. So overall with the Blue Jays, he's 34-36. But there's value. I mean, the record, of course, under 500, but he's going to throw 200 innings every year. He's done it for 4 consecutive years, and he'll do it again this year. And you know he's going to take the ball. Since 2012, 54 wins, tied for 8th most in the majors. And that includes that 20-win season in 2012, 20-6. Second most innings pitched in the majors.
Finally threw him a fastball, and that was the emergency swing by Josh Reddick. Been throwing knuckleballs even 3-2, and that was taking the ball out of the catcher's mitt.
Reaches for this one and drives it toward right. Batista came in. Now he's got to go back, and he makes the catch. Almost sailed right over his head. So a 3-up, 2-down inning for Dickey. And we're going to the bottom of the 3rd. It'll be Revere, Tulowitzki, and Donaldson. Blue Jays leading this one 10-2. Tweet your strongest fan photo to CSNCA. Data strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Luis Elvira Jr. from Fairfield sent this photo in of Jamie Marie Thompson, a 1-month-old A's fan. Luis, thanks for the photo. We appreciate it. Bottom of the 3rd, and Ben Revere to lead it off. Tulowitzki to follow, and Donaldson. Revere doubled and scored in that 7-run second inning for the Blue Jays. And now 2-0.
Fans don't like it, but that's just wild. It's nothing intentional. It just not throwing a strike.
And that one is in there for a strike. Dubront is over there, and Dubrant's going to take it himself. That's out number one here.
You can hear him calling, which is a good idea. Might as well call it, take it, and long run for Valencia to get to the ball. Valencia playing back with a left-hander and got jammed on the 3-1 fastball.
So now to the top of the order in Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki has walked and scored and been hit by a pitch. He was also thrown out at home trying to score in the second inning. Maybe the lone bright spot in that second inning. Dubront not real sharp with his control. Missing badly.
Yeah, the same location to Tulowitzki, same location that he was throwing to Revere, almost hitting him with pitches up and in. Managers do not like to use position players, but a game that starts like this and you can only use your bullpen so much, especially with a quick turnaround tomorrow in the series finale.
There's a strike call.
So I always wonder if a position player will have a dream come true.
A dream to them, a nightmare to others.
That's right. I want to say when Jose Canseco was with the Rangers, wasn't he one of the first and blew out his elbow? No. And Doug Melvin just stepped down as a general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, and I want to say he might have been the general manager when that happened. That was a fiasco.
Yeah, but he was thrilled.
Oh yeah. You know, Jose kept begging. You know, all the guys that throw knuckleballs on the side. I can pitch, and they give him a chance. And well, there's still some that have been used, but that what? Hey, Ike Davis. You know, we saw him pitch already. He was a pitcher. Yeah, he is the secret weapon. Left-hander.
Sogard straightens up, throws, and they just got Tulowitzki for the second inning. Here's our forward right choice, July 29th. Troy Tulowitzki makes his Blue Jays debut. Got a home run, 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Good on defense. Home run came off Jerome Williams. Blue Jays won the game 8-2. So that was July 29th. First game for Troy Tulowitzki, coming over from the Rockies, where he was the best all-around shortstop in the game, maybe. Most home runs in the major leagues. And a terrific player, and as we told you last night, long-term deal. So since 2007, the most home runs and most RBIs in the major leagues by a shortstop.
What did you say? 5-year contract that he has remaining. You have Josh Donaldson under control for 4 years, counting this year. Russell Martin for 5 years. Signed him.
Well, they will have, if they so choose, they could have the same lineup next year.
That's true.
Everybody is under contract, or they hold a club option on a player or whatever it may be, but they will be more than likely running a similar lineup out next year. Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion both have club options for next year, which you would think that they would exercise.
Yeah, if they're club options, I don't think there's any doubt. Both very, very strong hitters, power hitters.
Donaldson, big swing. Skies went into foul territory. Valencia near the seats, makes the catch. Side retired. So we're going to the fourth inning. It's 10-2 Blue Jays.
And other former A's players for the 2016 Oakland Athletics Fantasy Camp. It's held from January the 15th to the 21st at the A's new spring training facility, Mesa, Arizona. Get out of the stands and onto the field. Create lasting memories with former A's greats. For more details, go to hendersonbaseball.com or you can call 509-993-7338. You could ask Jose about pitching.
Yeah.
That would be great. Get out of the stands and say, Jose, can you pitch to me?
Interesting conversation, I bet. Valencia, Vogt, and Butler here in the fourth inning against Dickey. Valencia, another big swing. So the count 0-2. Long home run in the second inning for Valencia, his 10th of the year, third with the A's. He drives this one to right field. Bautista headed into the corner, and it is just foul.
Well, he did not miss the home run in his first at bat. His pitch was left out by Dickey. Dickey's asking for a new baseball. He didn't even turn around. He heard the sound. He had a few of those given up, and that was probably the best shot when he gave up the home run, and he looked straight to Jeff Kellogg and said, give me a new baseball. I don't think it's coming back. Well, it did. Actually, it was thrown back by the fan.
So Dickey ahead 0-2. These are the fastball that moves inside, moves Valencia off the plate a little bit. Take there. Valencia laid off that knuckleball.
It's almost like slow pitch softball. If you think about knuckleball,
wait.
You just wait and you try to wait for the last instant, and it doesn't help you create a lot of power. But if you leave the knuckleball up, or if it's left up, then you can do what Valencia did the first at bat.
3-2.
You know, what's saying is, if you see it low, let it go, because the knuckleball is going to break down out of the strike zone. And that one was about knee high, and there's no way it could stay there.
And way off the plate, the leadoff walk to Valencia. So he was down in the count 0-2. So walk number one by Dickey, and that'll bring up Stephen Vogt.
Well, there's got to be a little bit added incentive, whether you're pitching or, in the case of Valencia, hitting. Dubront, former Blue Jay, of course, Valencia more recently a Blue Jay, and Dickey was his teammate. And then all of a sudden you're facing him.
Yeah. It's got to be a little strange
Yeah.
as well. Stephen Vogt hit a fly ball to left field his first at bat. And he takes the knuckler and it drops low. See, just a very short lead at first. He's obviously not going anywhere, and now it's 3-0. And it's low. 4-pitch walk to Vogt. 2 on and nobody out.
I don't know if he's shaking his head that he's not throwing a strike or shaking his head that he's not getting a strike call. A couple of pitches close, but they have not been called strikes by Jeff Kellogg, and he's staying with the knuckleball.
So a chance to get some runs for the A's as Butler hits, and that knuckleball floats in for a strike. Butler had a single in the second, and he scored. Chops this one toward Donaldson. Fires to second for 1, on to first. Double play. So for the 19th time this year, Billy Butler hits into a double play. So 2 away. Valencia now at third.
Got on top of a high knuckleball, running hard, and Donaldson knew he had to hurry. It was not hit that hard. Second base turned quickly by Goings, and there's your 5-4-3 double play.
So now Canna hits second most in the majors as far as grounding into double plays. First pitch strike to Canna, who doubled in the second inning. There's a shot down the left field line. Fair. It's going to get the A's a run as Valencia trots in. Cannon to second with a head first slide. RBI double. It's 10-3.
Cannon likes knuckleballs, doesn't he? That's amazing. That's 2 for 2. 2 doubles down the left field line, and this one a big one, 2 outs. And knuckleball stayed up as it did to Valencia earlier, as it did to Cannon in his first at bat, just on the line. Down left field, just a little bit in front. Stayed in play off the wall.
So Sogard with the chance to knock in a run. First pitch to him is outside. Knocked in a run with a ground out to second in the second. Really worry about pitch counts too much with a knuckleballer. Dickey has thrown a lot, 73 so far here in the fourth inning. Donaldson handles a tough in between hop, throws to first, side retired. Canna with an RBI double. Bottom of the fourth coming up. It's the Blue Jays 10 and the A's 3.
On Stripe Sock Backpack presented by Chevron Techron Advantage Credit Card. On Monday, September the 7th, 15,000 fans will receive this stylish backpack modeled after the preferred footwear of Sonny and Sogi. They said Sogar, but I just threw in Sogi. Get your Labor Day tickets now at athletics.com/tickets or by calling 877-493-BALL. I mean, Sonny and Sogi sounds better than Sonny and Sogard.
And I think you're on a nickname basis with Sogi.
Sogi. What is that? That's all in one, isn't it?
I think your reaction says it all. What is that?
I mean, really? I don't know what the uniform police to show up here.
So, for a man who wore stirrups, Ray, as a ball player, that has to hurt you a little bit.
It does hurt. Yeah. that
one sock, stirrups colored in. It just doesn't look that good.
Can we go back to that? Let's take a better look.
It's not even Brett Laurie. It's just the non-stirrup look is just not it.
That I've never seen that.
And I believe the pants are tucked into the sock.
That's right.
Which is a bit of a new look as well. So 3-1 the count to Jose Bautista. Bautista a strikeout and a single and a run scored. And a big swing, and he popped it up in front of the dugout of the Athletics, and Stephen Vogt with a basket catch. Nice play.
You can hear his teammates yelling, "You're all right, you're all right," which means he had room without having to pull a Russell Martin jump up in the dugout. Got rid of the mask, a little basket catch.
Now, I saw you talking to Russell Martin today, and I think you were talking about that attempt that he made last night. Am I right?
I am, and I said, why? He said, I knew the ball was coming back, but I didn't know it was coming back that much. But I said, how were you able to jump up the top and land and not get hurt? And he said when he came down, he just kind of came straight down. And I guess as Eric Burns once said, you have to know how to land.
I guess.
And he landed, and it was scary.
I like to think you got to learn how to fly before you learn how to land.
Well, that's true. That's true. And John Gibbons, his manager, former catcher, said, what is he doing?
We were worried about him.
Yeah, now, watch how he lands. He jumps up. Ball comes back behind him. He said when he reached back, it actually helped him as the ball was behind him. He said if he had kept going in, he might have hit the top of the dugout with his throat, which
I was worried about his knee.
Right. Well, you notice how he had to reach back? When he did that, it kind of lifted him to come down a little bit straighter. But still scary nonetheless. Now watch it down. He's reaching back, and he just kind of glides back and goes straight down.
Watch that.
Yeah, but he said he missed that front bench, and he had a smile, and then rolled over to get back on the playing field.
But he's okay.
Yeah, it's
2-2 to Chris Colabello, who has had a big night. 3-run homer in the first, RBI single in the second. 4 RBIs in his first 2 at bats. Three and 2 the count. The Yankees are leading the Indians 1-0 in the 5th inning in Cleveland. You saw the highlights up on the big board. Some moaning and groaning when the Indians hit into an inning-ending double play against CC Sabathia. So keep an eye on that one. Blue Jays a half game behind the Yankees in the AL East.
Well, CC's pitching tonight, which means he will not pitch in the series starting Friday night.
Right.
Assuming they're on the 5th 5-day 5-man rotation.
Yankees are trying to break a 4-game losing streak. And they will be here this weekend in Toronto, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 3-2 to Colabello. He drives this one toward Burns in center. Shaded a little bit toward right center, and he's got it, 2 outs. The Blue Jays and the Yankees still have 6 games to play here in Toronto, 2 series, and then a 4-game series in New York. So
that's why they've already announced the sellouts this weekend, and tomorrow they talked about tonight maybe, and it's filling up quite a bit in the upper deck. Lower bowl is completely filled, but the upper deck had some seats, but they're filling in. And maybe another sellout tonight will be announced.
So there's the updated East. See the Orioles 5 back. They lost today. We'll tell you how they lost in just a little bit. Interesting stuff there.
Better not forget about that team down in Tampa Bay named the Rays.
Boy, they just keep hanging around.
They sure did.
Deserve a lot of credit. Sogard gets a nice big hop across the diamond, and Felix Dubron has a 3-up, 3-down inning, and we're going to the 5th from Rogers Center. It's 10-3 Toronto. We mentioned the Orioles game today, and that's what happened. Hisashi Iwakuma for the Seattle Mariners threw a no-hitter. Mariners 3, Orioles nothing. 4th no-hitter in the majors this year. Heston, Scherzer, Hamels, and now Iwakuma. 5th no-hitter in Mariners history. So congratulations to Hisashi Iwakuma, who no-hit the Baltimore Orioles today in Seattle. Mark Burley's got a couple no-hitters, including a perfect game. So Iwakuma, the story today in Major League Baseball. Saw a couple of interesting notes on that no-hitter. For Iwakuma, it was his first career complete game.
That's not a surprise.
Into a no-hitter.
That's not a. You hear that too often, isn't it? Boy, a guy pitches his first complete game. Oh, by the way, it's either a shutout or a no-hitter. Well, congratulations. That's pretty.
He's
pretty
the
neat.
Second Japanese pitcher to throw a no-hitter. Hideo Nomo was the first, and actually Nomo threw a couple of no-hitters.
One in Colorado, which is unheard of. Was it Torpedo? What do they call him?
I don't know, but he was good. So, the second Japanese pitcher to throw a no-hitter. Billy Burns with a base hit. Burns the big turn, and he'll hustle back.
Yeah, Cap, that ball with the normal turf, and I think we just have seen how soft this turf is. That ball normally goes to the gap, and all the way to the wall, maybe a double or even a triple. And Billy Burns hit it to the right side. Good hitting on this knuckleball. but headed towards the gap. That would normally hit the turf, but look how that keeps popping up with that ground up tires, and it slowed it down. Checking up a couple of times. I think Billy had to be thinking at least 2, and he had to shut it down. Throwback came in quickly, and
so the turf that was here before this new turf, that ball probably rolls to the right center field.
Yeah, you could normally hit a ground ball past the second baseman and roll all the way to the wall. So it definitely has changed.
Rory fights it off. That's it, foul. Well, we talked last night quite a bit about this new turf, Ray, but I also read this offseason where the plan is to put this new turf in, but the plan was hopefully to have natural grass in by 2018.
Exactly.
And I have not heard any change in that plan, and that's interesting.
Well, the key was the Argonauts leaving, but they want grass, so that's why they're leaving. And their lease expires, I think, with Rogers Center anyway, so they're going to be leaving. So as long as they can still have the events in here, which they do those in grass fields anyway.
Rory strikes out. So strikeout number 3 for Dickey. But I mean, that's interesting. Natural grass in here, it's retractable.
It really would be no different if you think about it than Cleveland, New York, Boston, any of the cold weather cities, because the snow, I mean, they could close the roof here, leave it a little bit to get some air, but
they're as far north here as they are any other places.
So I don't think it's going to be a problem because of the amount of snow Boston got this off season. They were lucky to get it off the field to start the regular season in Finland.
Trying to think of other retractable domes. Milwaukee has natural grass.
Well, Arizona, they completely roll it out.
Yeah.
They roll it out, get it sunshine during the day, and roll it back in.
Reddick drives one left center, but Pilar waving everybody off. He's got it, and that's the inning. So the A's get a hit, strand a runner, bottom of the 5th coming up. 10-3 Blue Jays. Baseball, we got it for you. Log on to csncalifornia.com and check out our A's insider Joe Stiglitz. He provides wire-to-wire reporting for this A's season with breaking news, video, special features, and more. It's only on csncalifornia.com. Downtown Toronto, inside the Rogers Center, Blue Jays with a 10-3 lead over the A's, bottom of the 5th inning. Aaron Brooks was knocked out in the 2nd. Felix Doubront has been in there since then, and after a little bit of a rough time getting out of that 2nd inning, Doubront has settled in. He's retired 7 in a row.
Well, you said it best. The A's need some innings, and Doubrant's capable of doing that. He's already pitched out of the bullpen in several innings before.
Smoke lifts one high in the air toward Burns in center. And 54 pitches for Dubron.
I think what Dubron is showing the A's, I mean, he's been released a few times, including the Blue Jays, where the A's picked him up, and he's showing his versatility. He started for the Blue Jays, pitching out of the bullpen for the A's. He's been able to do that, and I think anytime a lefty can show that type of versatility, it's going to help him.
Pilar toward Fold. Sam Fold makes the catch. He got a great jump, and off the crack of the bat, you really didn't think he had a chance, but he just ran it down.
And that's because the ball was hooking off the bat of Pilar, hooking, and Sam just lays out as he always does. And I think it's just tremendous the way he plays the outfield. Super Sam, they call him, and another great play. Threw out a base run at the plate. Bront liked it. That's 3 pitches, 2 outs, and especially an outfielder giving up his body on this turf. And, well, you never know how you're going to feel when you do land on it the way Sam Fold just did.
2 outs for Goins. First pitch is outside. Goins a walk. Run scored and a pop out. Goins was 0 for 2 last night. Swing and a miss. Jays had just 6 hits total last night, but 4 of them were extra bases, 3 doubles and a homer. Helped them get their 4 runs. Tonight, 10 runs on 9 hits. Fastball in there at 90 miles an hour. Kendall Graveman, a little bit of a tough luck guy last night. Defense let him down. So 2-2 the count to the second baseman for the Blue Jays. Check swing, grounds at foul. The crowd has filled in nicely here at Rogers Center. We have not got the announcement on the attendance just yet.
Well, to see the upper deck with the smattering of empty seats, but there's a lot of traffic in the area.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not surprising that people find a place to park and then get in the stadium.
Dubron knocks it down. Let's hope he's okay. Throws out Goins. Side is retired. Nice play by Sam Fold for the second out in the inning. We're headed to the 6th here at Rogers Center. 10-3 Blue Jays. Central, brought to you by Hyundai. Tonight at 10:30, it's on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. The Warriors and the Kings NBA schedule has been released. That's a big deal. Raiders and 49ers can't report as they get set to play their first exhibition games, and the Splash Brothers in Vegas. So sounds like a full show to me. Ahmed Fareed and Dave Feldman will host. Seems like the Warriors just won it all, and now the schedules are out already. I would imagine the Warriors will be a marquee team to watch this year as far as nationally televised games will go. 0-2 to Danny Valencia. A homer and a walk and a couple of runs scored for Valencia. Strength in numbers t-shirt. That means only one thing. You're world champion, Golden State Warriors. Strength in numbers.
And wishing and hoping with the A's cap that they have strength in numbers with the A's too in Toronto. Probably talking to a Blue Jays fan as that Josh Donaldson jersey person just grabbed it.
To pitch, just a little bit low. Vote to follow, and then Butler here in the 6th inning against R.A. Dickey. Valencia's had good at bats against Dickey. Stands quite a ways off the plate. That one was nasty. See, that knuckleball, it broke more away than down, and we've seen that a couple times from Dickey. You wonder if he's doing that on purpose.
It's like a slider.
Yeah.
And that broke like a slider. It started, it looked good. Watch right at the end, right there. It takes off outside. And to Valencia, it looked like a strike to the corner and then took off.
That's not fair.
Think of Wilbur. Wilbur Wood could do that.
Could he
to
really?
The left-hander.
So he could make it.
He could make it move sideways. Yeah. East and west, as they call it, instead of north and south. But old Wilbur.
You must have hit off Wilbur quite a bit.
Well, I tried. Wilbur's one could pitch both ends of a doubleheader.
Needed a fly swatter. Huh?
A left-handed knuckleballer. That was not fun.
0-2 to Vogt, who has hit a fly ball to left, and he has walked. That one's hit hard to right center field, and Pilar can't get it. Bangs off the wall. Stephen Vogt hustling for second, and he's going to have a one-out double. So Vogt with a double last night and a double tonight. So maybe he's breaking out of his slump a little bit.
Another ball hit hard by Stephen Vogt, and anytime you hit an 0-2 pitch, you're saying, well, throw a waste pitch. Knuckleball, you can't. You're just throwing it, hoping it's going to break out of the strike zone. Like the one to Valencia, but this stayed in the middle of the plate, and that time Stephen able to get out front, pull it enough into the gap in right center instead of directly at Pilar in center field.
So that one is high. Knuckleball's been up a little bit tonight. Butler singled and scored in the 2nd, hit into a double play in the 4th. There's a liner, and that's going to be a double play. So mistake by Vogt on the bases, and Butler lines into the double play. Bottom of the 6th coming up. It's 10-3 Blue Jays.
in the first inning. Chris Colabella, a 2-0 fastball off with the glass above the Tim Hortons sign, and then Stanley Valencia get the A's on the board in the bottom, the top of the second, a solo home run left center. But this one of the biggest hit. Josh Donaldson got a fastball away from him. A's looking for a double play to maybe get out of the inning. Instead, that went to opposite field as this one went to straightaway center off Felix LeBron. 3-run home run by Justin Smoke. He has found a home in Toronto as the Blue Jays 10-3. And we are in the 6th inning. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world. It's great to do that promo in Canada because it's Rogers. And we're talking AT&T, mobilize your world with AT&T.
Enemies, right? Your enemies. I got a feeling you don't mess with Rogers Communications up here in Canada. They seem to just pretty much
dominate.
Yeah,
they dominate.
Full domination.
I mean, they own the stadium, bought the team. I mean, when you buy the Blue Jays, you buy this.
Laurie juggles, picks it up, fires to first, and they get Revere on the way here in the 6th inning. Angels and the White Sox are playing, no score in the 4th inning. Heaney and Danks, a couple of left-handers, squaring off in Chicago. The Astros won earlier today. They shut out the Giants 2-0. So a much-needed win for Houston. Houston finishes that road trip 2-7. So it wasn't a great road trip, but they're still in first place. And that one's belted to deep left center field, and it is caught. Tulowitzki put a charge into it, but Burns tracked it down.
Tulowitzki hit it and kind of hesitated, thinking Coors Field, that's about 20 rows deep. And even in Rogers Center in Toronto, where the ball carries, that one did not make it out. Left center, caught by Billy Burns.
So 2 away for Donaldson. So more on the Astros, who finished off that trip today with a win. Astros will now go home. They'll be off tomorrow, and then they will open up a 10-game homestand this weekend. They will play Detroit, Tampa Bay, and the Dodgers. So I would imagine they're looking forward to getting home. They've played so well at home this year. They're 38-18, but really struggling on the road. So they'll try to do some damage at home. The Astros.
Their last 20 games on the road, not good at all. That's you're right. If they could do anything on the road, who knows, considering their home record.
So right now the Astros with a 1.5 game lead over the Angels in the AL West, with the Astros win today. Outside to Donaldson for the Angels. They were shut out last night in Chicago, but they will finish that series, and they will play 4 at Kansas City this weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that'll be a good series. Angels and the Royals. The Royals knocked the Angels out of the postseason last year.
Yeah, they swept everybody out. After they beat the A's, they decided to just go right on through until they met the Giants.
Looks like the Astros and the Angels are in for an exciting finish in the AL West. Just a touch inside, and Donaldson walks. He's been on base 3 times tonight. A couple of singles in that one. And for Dubron, that breaks a stretch of 12 consecutive hitters retired. So he's done a good job, Felix Dubron. Jays have not had a hit since that crazy 2nd inning. So Batista hits for the 4th time. Shoots one foul. Bautista 1 for 3 with a single and a run score. Hit high in the air toward the right field corner. Reddick cannot quite get it, and it's fair. Donaldson is going to come in to score, but they're going to hold everybody up as it bounced into the seats. It's a ground rule double. So Donaldson will have to go back to third.
Probably the smallest area with regard to foul territory. Down the line, you don't see it, and there you see it, and there you see the ball just barely hit, and then go up into the seats. And if you just run straight on, you have about a foot of foul territory. It goes down to 0 at the foul line. I mean, 0.
How much room did you have? None.
I mean, look at the line right down to the foul line. It goes down to where you're running and running.
So when Reddick says, I didn't have any room in foul territory, he's not exaggerating. There's like a half an inch.
And you can't stop on a dime. You're going to go, just stop that quickly. It's not going to happen. Just happy with 2 outs that the ball ended up in the seats. And if they can get the very hot Colabella out, then it'll be good. DeGron's been pitching out of the stretch since he came in the game, so it's not unusual to have runners on base because that's the way he's pitched since he's been in.
Up the middle, Laurie, nice play. Backhand, gets up, throws. Got him. Good play by Brett Laurie. Saved a couple of runs. And the Blue Jays do not score, so we're through 6 innings, and the Blue Jays leading 10-3.
By Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
7th inning, and the Blue Jays leading 10-3 over the A's. There's 7 runs in the 2nd inning. The difference so far. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. Bo Schultz comes in. 22nd game, good ERA. 32 innings pitched. Tough to hit. Opponents hitting just 173 off him.
Got the 1 save against the A's on the Wednesday afternoon in relief of R.E. Dickey. That's the numbers for R.E. Dickey. 9 ground ball outs, so he was up to his normal pitching. Couple of walks, 1 scored. 4 strikeouts. Schultz just threw the ball 120 miles an hour.
No runs allowed in the last 20 innings for this Blue Jays bullpen. So they're coming together at a good time. And that one is belted down the left field line. Foul.
Well, that streak almost ended one swing of the bat.
Wow.
That was loud, but just got out in front and pulled it. I think Mark Canha realized that's not a knuckleball and hit the tip top.
So 0-2 to Canha. And that one off of Schultz, and Canha's going to be aboard. Mark Canha's 3 for 3. So Schultz seems to be okay. Let's see where it got him.
Right knee, but it's almost like Josh Donaldson had those two big swings, especially the one that went foul. Right shin, maybe. But then got a breaking ball from Schultz and took it back up the middle, off the body.
So leadoff man aboard, 7 hits now for the A's as Sogard steps in. Bo Schultz, kind of another one of those under the radar signings. He was claimed off waivers right at the end of last season from the Diamondbacks. He's done a good job.
He has.
Power arm like that.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson was talking about being in the midst of this lineup, and he knew he was in the lineup in Oakland, a good one. But he said with the Blue Jays, there's so many different guys. Who are you going to pitch around? Who are you going to pitch carefully to? You look at Bautista and Encarnacion's in there. Cobella having a great year. Tulowitzki leading off. Donaldson. And I think just like you're talking about with Schultz, he comes from the Diamondbacks. You put him in the bullpen, and they're feeding off each other. And I think that's what happens in this game when you have success. Then the defense feeds off each other. The offense, the pitching.
I think they are becoming, and I know it's easy to say right now because they've won 9 in a row, but if you just kind of look ahead and you start thinking about this team, I think they become really scary. I mean, as a whole team, because now you got Price, so now you have a number 1, and you got Burley, who's pretty good still. You got Dickey, but then you have a power bullpen, and usually in the postseason, a lot of times you have 4 starters, which means if you want, you can have an extra arm in your bullpen. Again, Revere in left field. He's got it. But certainly you can look at all the contention, teams that are in contention, and say good things about each team. I don't know that any of the other teams have an offense like this.
Yeah. They were good then. Starting in '89, of course, they won the East in '85, but the '89, the A's played them and went to World Series, won that, and '91, '92, '93, back-to-back World Champions. Cito Gaston, their manager. That's the last time they were there.
You think about from '87 to '93, and you think about how good the Blue Jays teams were and how good the A's teams were.
Exactly.
There was some powerhouse battles between those two teams.
Well, in the '87, the Twins won in the World Series, and then the Twins won again in '91. The A's won in '89. So it's kind of back and forth those teams, but the Blue Jays were in the mix from the Eastern Division. Of course, the A's and the Twins were in the West at the time, but the Blue Jays were good, and they had a chance to win 3 consecutive because the unfortunate strike that wiped out the World Series in '94, and they did it all over again, but they did not win. But they were good. And they had it all working for them, and just like the Jays of today, as a result of the trades they've made. But the one thing the Blue Jays are trying to do, and that says it right there, 1993 World Series.
Get off that list.
Exactly.
That's what they're trying to do.
Exactly. And it's just like the Royals before last year. '85 was their last time in postseason.
See the Astros on that list. They got a good chance to get off that list. He
Rule
was
5.
good.
Rule 5. He's a Rule 5.
Yeah.
picked up by the Blue Jays. And
he won an MVP, didn't he?
Yes, had a fantastic career with the Blue Jays.
There he is.
Yes. It's Howie Starkman. What's Howie? He's retired. He's always a consultant now. Down on the front row there, Howie Starkman. He was one of the original people here, what's called the Sky Dome.
So Schultz strikes out Burns. The A's get a leadoff base hit, but do nothing with it. 7th inning stretch time. 10-3 Toronto. It's a good one.
I want to cheer for Brett Lorry. And number 3, I'm positive they won't trade him back someday. That guy's gonna be too good. They're never gonna want to trade back.
Well, hello there. How are you?
Good.
Can I have a hug?
Oh, is that great? In December, Brett Lawrie's traded to the A's, and that young fan, 6-year-old girl named Amelia, to say she was disappointed, well, that would be an understatement. And that video that we just saw, it went viral.
Oh,
it was awesome. And then about a week later, Brett took her to pizza, and they're buddies and all as well. She's an A's fan a little bit now.
He'll never come back.
But to say that she was unhappy with the trade, that would be maybe the biggest understatement.
That was cute. And it was nice that he found out who she was, and like you said, took her to lunch, pizza, whatever, and she said, "You never come back, but you never know. In the game of baseball, you just never know."
0-2 to Russell Martin, and it's hit hard, backhanded nicely. Valencia straightens up, throws high. Canna comes down on the bag, avoids a collision with Martin. That's a good thing for both parties involved, and it's out for 1.
Well, it's called an air mail, and fortunately for Mark Canna, he could jump. As he jumped and came straight down, hit the bag. Russell Martin kind of threw it around the avoid the collision, hit the bag just in case Canna didn't, but he did.
So 1 away, and here's Justin Smoke, who hit the long 3-run homer in the 2nd inning.
Well, we don't have video of Russell Martin, that cute girl with Brett Lawrie. Lawrie coming to the Athletics, but Russell Martin coming back home in a sense, coming back to Canada, Canadian, and catching for the Blue Jays and wearing the Canadian flag on his cap proudly. He was saying, Kite, that when his dad played Old Canada, when they went to Montreal, remember they started the season exhibition? They drew over 90,000 people. And Russell Martin grew up in the Montreal area, and his father played the saxophone Old Canada.
That's right, I read that.
And Russell said, you talk about a tearjerker. He said, I was standing there listening. He said he had played in Los Angeles, but had not been Canadian, played in Montreal where Russell grew up. And he said how perfect was it to sign with the Blue Jays, go to Montreal, play exhibition games, in an area where he grew up.
And have your dad do that.
Yeah. I mean, he said it was just unbelievable to have that happen, and it's been a perfect world for him.
Yep.
And to go from the Yankees to the Pirates, and then a 5-year contract for the Blue Jays, and to come back to Canada where he was born and still lives. And it's quite a story for him. And actually, he's exactly what the Blue Jays needed in a veteran behind the plate. There's a record right there.
Right.
2 fly balls caught by a pitcher in the same game.
Has it ever happened? Get in your record books. Let us know.
That night, August the 18th, for the Martin McGwire bobblehead giveaway driven by Chevrolet. Big Mac will be on hand as we honor his A's career. The all-time A's home run leader helped the A's reach 3 straight World Series from 1988 to 1990 and win the title in '89. For tickets, call 877-493-BALL, or you can visit athletics.com. About 1986. How about this? 96. Flashback. Martin McGwire. Kickoff. Oh my, 96. Those fans never thought they'd get it up there. See, when Mac did it, got back to the dugout, took all the high fives. There's where it went. But when Canseco hit his, he said, I didn't get it all. That's the 5th level. Here at now it's called Rogers Center. Man, 5th level. Big Mac, who in '87, the Rookie of the Year, Canseco in '86, '87 McGwire, '88 Walt Weiss. 3 consecutive, and that's a long way up. That's the 5th level, as they call it.
Section 540.
Yep. It's amazing when Blue Jays players hit them up there, they would put seats and color them, but with opposing players, no, just never did. And they would always say the Blue Jays players hit them farther than the visiting players. But that's a long way. He could do it. And he might before his career ends here in Toronto. Unless he already has.
He's facing Liam Hendricks, the new pitcher, when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. 38th appearance for Hendricks. Kind of the long man for the Blue Jays. As we dug back in the record books, that McGwire home run was measured at 488 feet. That's not bad.
Still think the one Mac hit at what's known as Jacobs Field, below the scoreboard.
Manny Ramirez, 491 feet. There's your record.
Manny might have hit one off of the Glass Suites or the restaurant in center field. The guys were hitting them off up there. Carlos Delgado, I think, did that.
Carlos Delgado disrupted everybody's dinner. And that one called the ball. 2-2. Make it 3-2. Be ready to hit now, Brett Lawrie.
What is wrong with this pitch? That man thought it was a ball. I guess he's the one that matters.
And 3-2 fastball on the inside corner. And Lawrie strikes out for the second time. So he is hitless in this series. 6 strikeouts for Blue Jays pitchers. And Reddick hits.
Pretty impressive to be able to throw another pitch after you just threw one that should have been strike 3. Had to go to 3-2, 3-2, and throw another one hard, and he did.
So one away for Reddick, who has struck out, hit a fly ball to right, and hit a fly ball to left. Reddick hits it hard, beats the shift. Donaldson dove for it. He was playing near the shortstop spot. Reddick gets his first hit tonight.
Fastball away, and no more knuckleballs. And Reddick taking the opposite field hit, which, even though he continues to do that, has all season, they still will shift to the right. Shot.
So here's Valencia. Valencia, a homer, a walk, and a strikeout. Breaking ball is low. See the note on the scores from yesterday?
Yes. All home teams.
First time in Major League history that all 15 home teams won on the same day.
It's hard to believe that could happen, isn't it?
Yeah, that I'm surprised. You're right. No, it's, they're talking about since there's been 30 teams,
right.
And it's been that way since 1998. There it is.
And it took the Indians 16 innings and well into this morning.
It took that one, and it took I think the latest game was the Seattle game.
That's right.
I think they said that one lasted just a shade longer than the Indians. They needed Seattle to win to have that record, or whatever you want to call it.
So somebody with the MLB waited up all night just to watch that.
That's right.
And they were probably in New York, and it was 4 in the morning.
Austin Jackson got a hit. He won it for Seattle. Should be a double play, and it is. Bounced right over the bag. Goins grabbed it, flipped to first. It's a 4-3 double play. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 10-3 Blue Jays lead the A's.
Of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
This game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 3-8-0 for the A's, 10-10-0 for the Blue Jays. They scored 3 in the first and 7 in the second. They knocked Brooks out in that second inning. 3 hits for Canna. R.A. Dickey, good enough. He's got a pretty good chance to get a win after 6 innings of work. And Chris Colabello had 3 hits last night, 2 hits tonight. He's hitting in the leadoff spot for the Blue Jays. Here's your MVP tonight for the A's, Felix Dubron. He came in the second inning. Gave up hits to the first 3 hitters he faced. He has not given up a hit since. 5 1/3 innings for Felix Dubron. And a quick 0-2 to Goins, the second baseman. Aaron Luke, left-hander, getting loose.
And John Gibbons, where they started going 6 in an inning apiece for 3 relievers. That's the game plan, at least. 2 have done it. Schultz and Liam Hendricks. Series finale tomorrow, a day game. It was nice for this game for the roof to be open. You would expect tomorrow's series finale. Local time 12:30, 35 would be the first pitch.
We like that pitching matchup tomorrow.
Yeah.
Should be fun to watch because they're both good, and you know what? There's no messing around. There's no walking around. They are ready to go. They're ready to pitch, and they're both very good. Laurie scoops, throws, and that's out in the middle. And 2 gentlemen we're talking about are Sonny Gray and Mark Burley. So 12-game winner in Sonny Gray, 12-game winner in Mark Burley. Our coverage begins at 9 a.m. with A's pregame live, and then you'll get complete A's coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. Again, early start for our good folks back in the Bay Area who will be watching. Pitch to Ben Revere. Now we may look ahead a little bit here. Obviously, if Sonny Gray is pitching tomorrow, he will not pitch in Baltimore. And Clayton Kershaw is pitching tonight for the Dodgers. And I don't believe the Dodgers have any days off. Dubron grabs it on the line drive. Nice play by Felix Dubron.
You know, I think they're off Monday, Tech. I want to say they're off Monday because it's scheduled. It's supposed to be Kershaw and Gray on Tuesday.
Okay.
I think that's the plan because the off day Monday by the Dodgers.
The Dodgers are playing tomorrow. I know that. They have a 4-game series at home.
And of course, everybody's talking about the A's have the Monday night game in Baltimore flying across the country. And the Dodgers have Monday off. And we'll have Kershaw Tuesday night with Sonny pitching against them.
That's right. The Dodgers do have Monday off, and it lines up because of that off day. Kershaw tonight, Sonny Gray tomorrow, and then it looks like they're going to hook up on Tuesday. That should be a lot of fun.
Latos was scheduled to pitch the second and final game. It's just a short 2-game series.
Okay. Looking forward to a Gray-Kershaw matchup.
And by the way, Felix Dubron has caught 2 in foul territory, 1 in fair.
Yes, he has.
That's 3 put-ups. By a pitcher, not assist, put-ups. George, have you ever seen that before?
Slider down and in, 1-2. Tulowitzki, a walk, a hit by a pitch, a ground out, and a fly ball to center field. So he's 0 for 6 in the series, but he's been on base a couple times tonight. Up the middle, and that got a piece of Dubron as well. And Tulowitzki's going to have a hit.
I think he got him on a foot. And that was too hard to handle for sure. He's asking, is all right? All right? Probably upset that he didn't catch it. Had him on the follow through the left foot, and then off his foot in the center field. It's going to be a base hit. If he didn't catch it, he thought he probably should have caught it.
Well, his glove was behind his foot, and the ball hit his foot. So he was there to catch it, but his foot got hit. So here's Donaldson.
So DeBron's working on a complete game. Yes, he is. That was pitch number 94. And what's good about DeBron, he's been a starter, so he's stretched out and only been a reliever, at least this year, since he's been with the Athletics.
Driven to right. Reddick's there, though. And he's got it. So 6 1/3 innings of relief for Felix Dubron and 95 pitches. End of the 8th. It's 10-3 Toronto.
That guy sitting back there, and he is our Honda player of the game, Chris Colabello, who, as he was saying, never thought that a thumb injury would be so great, but for him it has been. A 3-run home run to left, a base hit to right field, and a big night for Chris Colabello, the Honda player of the game. Pepe said that, remember the story that when he was in Minnesota, had his mother show up? He said, for some reason, I always hit a home run with my mother. It's her birthday.
I do remember
April the 24th. And he said she's here tonight. So maybe we should find a way to keep his mother from showing up at games, especially against the A's, because he seems to play well when she's in the house.
This is Fegley hitting for Vogt against Aaron Loup, the left-hander. It's time for change. The Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. So Loup comes in for his 47th appearance. One of 2 left-handers in that Blue Jays bullpen, the other being Brett Cecil. Blue Jays added a couple of veteran arms at the trade deadline in LaTroy Hawkins and Mark Lowe. Up the middle and a base hit. So Fegley, as a pinch hitter, gets a leadoff single.
And that's pretty good as far as the numbers, because pinch hitters for the A's not hitting very well. It's hard. Pitch hitting is hard. Come off the bench, been sitting for 8 innings, and then grab a bat, go up to pinch hit. But Josh Fegley, it's a fastball from Aaron Loup, and with a 7-run lead, figured that's what he should be getting. He took it right back up the middle.
It is a 2-2 race. Sometimes a manager, and you may say, well, it's 10-3. Fegley pinch hitting for Vogt as the ball pops away from Russell Martin. But I think sometimes a manager, if he knows a guy's going to play the next day, he would like to get him an at-bat the night before, and that may be the case with Fegman. He may be playing tomorrow.
I would say a pretty good chance, day game after night game. And Stephen Vogt, time of possession, time on the field. Stephen Vogt has spent a long time on the field, so pretty good chance that with quick turnaround tomorrow that Josh Phegley would get the start. And it is a left-hander in Mark Burley who is pitching tomorrow. So it really works out well for the skipper to use both of his catchers. We'll see if Stephen Vogt plays tomorrow against the lefty, as we have seen some managers, especially with Mark Burley, keep some lefties in the lineup.
Marcus Semien getting the night off tonight. Coco getting the night off. The Indians have taken the lead over the Yankees, Ray. It's the Indians 2 and the Yankees 1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. They scored a run in the 6th and a run in the 7th. Did the Tribe take the lead? So could be a good night for the Blue Jays. A win by the Blue Jays, a loss by the Yankees, and the Blue Jays are in first place. So Felix Doubront in relief throws 95 pitches. 6 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, and on top of all that, he had 3 putouts. So deserves a lot of credit. 95 pitches.
You know, there's some pitchers who would do that in relief, throw that many innings, that many pitches, and the next day, gone. But I don't think Felix Doubront would be in the same category. And you know, there was some talk when Aaron Brooks made his first start. Doubront was going to be in the rotation. We'll see what happens. Third start by Brooks was tonight, and it was not very good. But you're right, Felix Doubront. I mean, if there's ever a time to save the bullpen, he did it tonight.
He did, big time.
Aaron Loop, a slinging fastball to Billy Butler. So Butler singled in his first at bat, but after that, I mean, even when he hit the ball hard to turn into a double play, he's hit to second, double Stephen Vogt off second.
So 1 away, and here's Canna, who's had a perfect night. 2 doubles, a single. He's got an RBI, and he rips this one to right. That's hit well. Batista going back, and he's going to get there. Couple steps from the warning track, and he makes the catch. So Canna hit that ball well. And he's retired with Phegley going to third. 2 outs now.
Phegley has found his way to get into scoring position. That string of consecutive innings, scoreless innings by the bullpen, maybe could be broken with Eric Sogard against the lefty.
Sogard 0 for 3, and the first pitch is a sinking fastball for a strike. Sogard's ground ball in the second inning knocked in a run. Inside corner, it's 0-2. Sogard disagrees. So everybody on their feet at the Rogers Center. Another huge crowd. And the 0-2 pitch, just a touch low. Sogard, did he go around? Yes, he did, and that's the ball game. So the A's do not score in the 9th inning, and the smoking hot Toronto Blue Jays have now won 10 in a row and 13 out of 14, and they have tied the Yankees for first place in the AL East. Time of game, 2 hours and 38 minutes in front of 44,597 here at Rogers Center. And for the second game in a row, the Blue Jays defeat the Oakland A's. Final score tonight, Blue Jays 10 and the A's 3. You've been watching A's baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's post-game live with Brody Brazil and Pip Roberts starts right now.